You notice there aren't a lot of fat people in China. You gotta notice that. And the food is so much more delicious here. Their Burger King is better than ours. Couldn't believe it. That was the greatest burger ever.
What Americans can learn from Chinese people is how to eat better. If we've all noticed, there's not very many fat people in China. And as we know in America, 60% of the population is overweight or obese. So Chinese must know something. And just eating this food, it tastes good and it's pretty healthy. So that's what Americans can learn, a practical thing.
I think that, especially in Beijing, I saw that the Bendy buses, where like they had like these kind of like springs in between two halves of the buses that were really cool, and it really increased the amount of public transportation.
I think definitely the most effective way to encourage public transportation in America, which is a huge thing that I think we need to learn, because even though our cities are usually a lot smaller, public transportation is fairly lackluster. I mean, like you were saying, in Chicago, the subway is pretty run down, hasn't been updated recently. When things are dirty, people don't like them, so they don't go. Or maybe they're just inconvenient. Like, I know one of the biggest problems in Muncie, we have really nice new MITS buses. Really, really neat, very clean. They even like have automated warnings, saying, watch your step when you step off. So it's pretty neat, but there's so few buses running that it's pretty inconvenient, which I think is a big problem. When I was doing research, Shanghai has over 1,000 public buses, that run at all hours of the day and night. And I think the average wait time is 5 to 10 minutes. Most of the bus stops are covered, so if it's raining or cold, you don't have to wait outside. A lot of our bus stops are just on a corner with a little post. So I think definitely spending the money to reinforce infrastructure, to make public transportation cheap and convenient for everybody is definitely going to go a long way in America.
And the reliance upon conservation of energy, the use of solar energy in a lot of the houses in the country I saw, which was very impressive. The way that people react when it comes to saving natural resources, etc. I think that's something that the Chinese could really impress upon America.
What Americans can learn from the Chinese, how to be hospitable. People here are really friendly and they're very understanding of your cultural differences. I mean, they're just very nice, and most people in America aren't nice. Another thing that the United States can learn from China, as far as like students go, work ethic. I mean, I felt terrible. I was like, wow, these people are like fighting each other to get into college. It's like their main goal is to work hard, do well in school, get into college, and get a good job. And I just don't see that in American classes or American students at all, even myself. One of the things I guess Chinese students especially could learn from American students is to, I guess, be a little bit more relaxed. Try to enjoy life and look at what you really want to do. I mean, that was another thing that that I noticed whenever I talked to a couple of the students. Some of them were studying a subject that they don't even like. I mean, of course, there's been plenty of classes that I don't like at Ball State, but my major and a few of the classes that I've taken in, like last semester, I really enjoyed them. I mean, they were a lot of fun, and they really pertain to what I want to do as far as career choice. But if you're in a class like economics and you absolutely can't stand studying or thinking about the economy day in and day out, probably shouldn't be in a college where that's what you do all day.
they could definitely learn a lesson from where we're at right now. Because, you know, starting in the 1940s and 50s, we became a car culture. So, you know, cars were status symbols. So we gradually moved away from clustered, you know, self-sufficient communities into like these giant urban sprawls, which has only furthered, you know, the need for cars. You know, to get from one end of Muncie to the other, you know, even though it's a very, very small population in Muncie, it takes maybe 30 minutes to get from one end to the other, just because everything's so spread out. And to get from our house to the mall, there's no way I'd ever ride a bike, because it's a good 10-15 minute drive, and you know, on very busy streets. We don't have bike lanes, we don't have sidewalks for most of it. So if the Chinese people can look at where we are as a culture, and the problems that we're facing, and realize that they're moving towards that, that I think definitely they could avoid a disaster like we're going to be facing soon.